Viewers, I am Justin Marshall, working as an assistant professor, PG Department of Computer Applications, St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Cuddalore. In this video, we are going to see Unit 1 in RDBMS. So, RDBMS is nothing but Relational Database Management System. But before RDBMS, it has been known as DBMS. So, what is meant by DBMS? DBMS is nothing but it's a database management system which contains the information about a particular enterprise where it has been used. So it is used to do the collection of interrelated data, set of programs to access the data, and it provides an environment that is both convenient and efficient to use. And database applications are it can be used in banking for doing transactions and in airlines for doing reservations and the flight schedules and in universities for registration as well as for grades and in sales customers product purchases informations to be stored and as well as online retailers like order tracking customized recommendations and in manufacturing area like production, inventory, orders, supply chain, and finally in human resources like maintaining employee records, salaries, and tax deductions. So these are the areas, some of the areas which has been the database has been applied. Databases can be very large. Databases touch all aspects of our lives. And an example is university database example. Application program examples add new students and instructors and courses as well as it can be used to register students or courses and generate class rosters, assign grades to student, compute grade point average, what we call as GPA, and generate transcripts. In early days, database applications were built directly on top of the file systems. So, before we started to use the database, we have used the file systems. Now we are going to see what are the drawbacks of using file system to store data. So first one is data redundancy and inconsistency. So while we are using the file system, we will be having the duplicate records that is called as data redundancy and inconsistency. So we can't able to maintain the consistent records. So we will be having multiple file formats and duplicates of information in different files. And second point is difficulty in accessing data. So we have to write a new program to carry out each new task. So whenever we want to access the data, we have to write a separate programs to access that particular data. And third one is data isolation. So in data isolations, multiple files and formats will be having in the to maintain the records and information. So it's very hard to have the same type of informations of files as well as its formats. And next one is integrity problems. So integrity constraints is difficult to maintain in file system. For example, account balance should be greater than 0 means it's very hard to maintain in file system that constraints the account should not have balance 0. But in database we can able to overcome the problems like integrity as well as other problems what we have faced in file systems. And it's also hard to new constraints or change existing ones. And next one is atomicity of updates. So here if we have any failures, it may leave database in an inconsistent state with particular updates carried out. Example, while we are transferring of funds from one account to another should either complete or not happen at all, but we will be facing in between the account, the amount will be deducted but it will not reach the other account. So this kind of problems is called as atomicity of problems. And next one is concurrent access by multiple users. So concurrently multiple users will be accessing the same file or same records, so it will uh, provide the wrong results. So concurrent access needed for performance, and uncontrolled concurrence can lead to inconsistency. So example, two people reading a balance say 100 and updating it by withdrawing money say 50 at the same time. So if two actions take place at the same time, so it's very hard to say what balance will be maintained in particular situation. So this kind of problems will be facing in file systems. And the last one is security problem. So it's very hard to provide user access to some but not all. The data will be common to all, so each and every one who are not the unauthorized users also will be accessing the files or informations. So we can't able to provide security in file systems. So we have started database to overcome these problems. So database system offers solution to all the above problems what we have faced in file systems. And now we are going to see about data models. So data models is a collection of tools for describing data as well as data relationships, data semantics, and data constraints. So there are different models in data model. The first one is relational model, and then it can be also called as entity relationship data model, mainly for designing the database. And next one is object based data models. So it will be having object oriented and object relational. And next one is semi structured data model, so like XML, extensible markup language. And also we are having other older models like network model as well as hierarchical model. So these are the some of the data models which has been used in DBMS. So in relational model we will be having or we will be storing the information in columns as well as row, that is called as in table format. So here we can able to see the information about the instructor. So it has been stored as rows and columns. So here we are having ID, name, department name as well as salary, which we can call it as columns, and we can able to store the information about different persons, so that we call it as rows. So in relation model we will be storing the information in rows and columns, and it is called as the table. Here we can able to see a sample relational database, which we have already seen the instructor table, and another one table we can store the information about the department, so they have named as a department table. Next, so in database we have to know some language to do some operations. So here we are going to see the overview of what is meant by data definition language. We will be studying in detail in 4th unit. So here we are having some overview of what is meant by data definition language. So they will call it as DDL, data definition language. So it is used to specify the notation for defining the database schema. For example, creating a table. So we will be knowing how to create the table by writing a proper syntax. So here they have created the table instructor by having column ID and its data type, name and its data type, and department name, its data type, salary and data type. So while you are creating the table by using the DDL language, the DDL compiler generates a set of table templates stored in a data dictionary. So the DDL language, instead, while we are using the DDL language, the informations will be stored in data dictionary. So data dictionary means nothing but it can be called as a metadata. That means data about the data. So it will store the information about the database schema, integrity constraints, that means primary key, which is used to uniquely identify instructors, and then referential integrity of which have been used for the references constraint in SQL. For example, here the department name value in an instructor tuple must appear in department relation. And then finally authorization. So we can able to provide authorization by using the DDL statement. So here next we are going to see about the overview of SQL. So SQL is nothing but it structured query language, or it can be called as a standard query language. So it has been widely used non-procedural language. Example, if you want to find the name of the instructor with some ID value, you have to write a query. So select particular person name from the particular table, and where is used to find out the particular person by giving an ID. So like that we have to write a query to find out the particular person name or whatever informations if you want to find it out. And application programs generally access database through one of the following, like language extensions to allow embedded SQL, or we can use application program interface, example ODBC or JDBC, which allow SQL queries to be sent to a database. Design approaches. So for designing a proper database, we should follow some rules and regulations or formats to design a proper database. So the designing approaches will be having the normalization theory, which we will be seeing in the 3rd unit. So here what we are doing is formalize what designs are bad and test for them. And entity relationship model models an enterprise as a collection of entity and relationships. And what is meant by entity means is a thing or object in the enterprise that is distinguishable from other objects. So an entity may be a thing or object for a particular enterprise which is distinguishable from other objects described by a set of attributes. The entity will be described by a set of attributes, and it can also have a relationship. So relationship is nothing but association among several entities, and represented diagrammatically by an entity relationship diagram. So these are the things followed in design approaches. The entity relationship model. So the entity relationship model is an enterprise of a collection of entities and relationships. So we have already seen that what is meant by entity. So entity is anything or object in the enterprise that is distinguishable from other objects, and it will be described by a set of attributes. And it can also have the relationship. An association among several entities is called as relationship. So here the instructor is having relationship with department. Instructor is one entity and department is another entity. So here instructor and department having the relationship by using member. So it is a pictorial representation of entity relationship model. So what happened to department name of instructor and student? So how storage management is done in database management system. So here we are having one storage manager. It's a program model that provides the interface between the low level data stored in the database and application programs and queries submitted to the system. So it's a program model which provides the interface between the low level data that has been stored in the database and the application programs and queries what we have written are submitted to the system. So it's an interface program model. The storage manager is responsible to the following tasks: interaction with file manager and its efficient storing, retrieving and updating of data. So issues, storage access, file organization, indexing and hashing is done here by using storage manager. And then next we are going to see what is meant by query processing. So query processing is how the query has been processed and it has been executed. So here parsing and translation take place, optimization take place and evaluation take place. So while we are writing a query, a parser and translator will execute, and then the appropriate relational algebra expression is created, and then optimizer sends to the statistics. Here the statistics of the database was given, and then execution plan is done, and then evaluation engine is created and sent to the database, that is where data is being stored, and we will be getting the output. So this is the schedule of query processing. And next is transaction management. So transaction management, what if the system fails, or what if more than one is currently updating the same data. So at the time the transaction management plays an important role. If any system gets fails while the particular transaction take place, or if one user is concurrently updating the same data of another user using the data means, so the transaction management is used to control the appropriate transactions. So a transaction is a collection of operations that performs a single logical function in a database application. And then transaction management component ensures that the database remains in a consistent, or it can be called as a correct state, despite system failures. So if system failures, the transaction management is responsible to ensure that the database remains in a consistent, or we can call it as a correct state. For example, power power failures and operating systems crashes. These are some of the system failures. And concurrency control manager controls the interaction among the concurrent transactions to ensure the consistency of the database. And this is a overall design of the database management system. So in this picture we can able to see different types of users like naive users nothing but tellers agents, so we will be using the applications, and then the applications programmers, sophisticated users, database administrators, and then they have been interacting through application interfaces, application programs, query tools and administrative tools, and then we are having the query processor. So in that we are having application program object code will be created, compiler and linker will be sent to application programming object code, as well as the queries, DML queries will be executed through DML compiler and organization, and then it will be moved to query evaluation engine, and then DDL interpreter will execute the DDL commands. So these are the query processes which are doing the appropriate executions. And then from query evaluation engine we will be having the buffer manager, file manager, authorization integrity manager, transaction manager. So this collection of managers are called as storage manager. And finally the disk storage, in that we will be having indices as well as data dictionary, and we will be having statistical data and the raw data. Thank you.